And we have our next game, ladies. Thorzain going up against Ente. Still Sweden going up against Germany here. And if you've seen the previous series, then you know that White and Nerdy losing out to Little DC has, just lost the first match, so Sweden is currently in the lead. But right now we're having Ente playing with his Tanimami account here, up to the top right and down to the, top left. And at the bottom right we have not only a flying sheep, but we also have the Swedish player Thorzain. Has been a little bit since I casted him, StarCraft 2 actually the last time, but of course he also played WarCraft 3 back in the days. RTS player for a very, very long time. And starts things off here with the Archmage. So we have an Undead versus Human. Germany could definitely use a little bit of a win here at this point, and we're going to find out if Ente can deliver or if Thorzain is going to take him down here. Don't actually think that Thorzain streams his own games, at least I haven't really seen anything. Ente, on the other hand, streams quite regularly, so we have a bit of an idea. Starting things off here with the Death Knight on level 1. Now he's one of the players that still experiments a bit with Dreadlord as a first hero, and oftentimes also against Human, but of course it depends also quite a bit on what opponent you're going up against and what caliber of play. Very early graveyard already. Normally when we're seeing that, it's very indicative of us getting Fiends in the game. There's of course a couple of cheesy builds that every now and then you could use to go into a bit of a tower rush. Kind of unlikely against Human on the other hand. But yeah, we've seen a bit of that in the past. And for now, Archmage again here as the first hero, already scouted by the Acolyte, and of course one of the big powers of Human Nice! The Acolyte body block here. Alright, get wrecked. It's actually not as insignificant as you might think, just simply because the duration of Militia has been reduced in one of the previous patches, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. So if you can buy a couple of seconds by simply body blocking that, that can actually help you slightly. So already the Forest Troll or the Ice Troll Warlord goes down, 2 Intelligence and the Scroll of the Beast. But the main idea, of course, he was already to get access to the Mercenary camp for him, and that's exactly what he achieved here. Has a pretty low Forest Troll Ice Priest, and that guy should get coiled in just a second. Would be yeah, Water Elemental is definitely going to go down. That's a good kill for him here, no doubt about it. Ah, coiling the skeleton actually. Okay, no experience for the Archmage, who on the other hand has already hit level 2. Forest Troll Priest is taken down, but that Acolyte is also going to bite the dust here. Another Militia on the other hand can be taken out pretty easily with another coil, and I think that one is going to be inevitable. Yep, there we go. So another one eliminated. And so far, things going well. A bit of scouting here in the base with the skeleton that he just moved down. But outside of that, the idea would of course be for Ente to try and get another peasant up there. There's at least one more. In the main base, Tech to Tier 2 has already started, as I predicted. First few Fiends with the early Graveyard are also in build now. And we're seeing that Death Knight is still attempting to see if he can get a few of those peasants. That was a pretty decent move here. Thorzain on the other hand with the Ice Troll Trapper using Ensnare, but yeah, but that peasant is still eliminated. So pretty easily taken apart here, and the worker line already suffering pretty heavily for Thorzain. In the main base, not really getting anything done just yet. We don't have a tank, we don't have any expansion attempts by him yet either. The level 2.5 Archmage is of course a bit of an advantage for him right now. At this point, Ente doesn't have level 2 yet, so no Unholy Aura for him, but I mean the tech alone is already working out, and as soon as we have a couple of Fiends in play, he can at least use those. Down to the bottom right, let's see how exactly Thorzain is going to play this, because at this point we don't really see too much movement from him here. No tech, no expansion attempt. He has a farm up here that has access to the mercenary camp, so that at least is going to help him to get a couple of additional units in. Now again, mercenaries in general, you can do quite a lot with it. We've seen it a lot against Night Elf, particularly just simply because it's one of the tools you can use to get early Dispel with the Forest Troll Shadow Priest, and that can really help you. Finally, a bit more of an aggressive approach towards the gold mine. So with all that tier 1 that we've seen on Thorzain's side, pretty likely to have that expansion, and that's exactly what he's going for right now. So we have the Militia coming in, trying to help out here. You can already see the reduced duration really starting to become pretty significant for Human. And yeah, Thorzain is going to try and build that expansion up. Whereas Ente is attempting to get level 2 for his Death Knight with with that, he's going to have a bit more of a chance to actually start harass down here. The Auger Mauler about to go down, and as an item, we're gonna get, ooh, Claws of Attack +9. Not too bad. For ranged heroes, always fantastic to get extra damage items. Here's the level 2 now. But we're gonna definitely see a bit of a timing attempt here by Ente, now that he's also adding the Lich, even before he starts to take into tier 3. So now from most players, you will actually see an attempt to go into tier 3 way before they are adding the Lich. So first the tech and then the second hero. In this case, with him going straight into the Lich, there's a lot more aggression that we can expect from him. One Fiend down on the other hand. Really well played here by Thorzain. Good job. And that Footman for now actually surviving. Doesn't take it down. There's a quick coil to at least take one of the mercenaries apart, but missed the Footman, so no extra experience for him. Trying to hunt him down now, I suppose. But yeah, that bad boy is going to escape. On the other hand, and will scout the expansion. So sees that. Royal of Necromancy is actually on cooldown at this point in time, so can't use that to get some skeletons in, but still has a few left over. One more coil available for him, so that should at least eliminate one peasant. A bit more militia coming in now too, more skeletons also in play. And he's gonna try and make his play here. Fiends are in, pressure is on. And here's the Lich, exactly what we mentioned earlier. The aggression with the early Lich that we're seeing from him now. Going with a Coil Nova straight for the next mercenary. 2.5 Death Knight, still gets some scouting in, and the hits against Thorzain's peasants. That could actually be another kill here. And yep, he gets one more peasant and is still harassing the worker line pretty significantly actually. And that's going to lose him at least another peasant. Thorzain is losing quite a lot here. Now with the Arcane Tower built, that should put an end to at least the harass of the Skeleton Warriors. But still, that's a lot of damage that Ente got done. Black Citadel tech is on the way, and we're going to see the first statue pretty soon to give him a bit more sustain on this. So far, so good. 140 still on the ground here, somewhere on the map. We have him only relying on tier 1 though. There's finally the tag of Thorzain into tier 2, and he really needs it. He doesn't have anything else. So we're not seeing any rifleman at the point in time. We are having very little for him, and this could be a bit problematic for him, especially once that we're seeing destroyers and also the Orb of Corruption coming into play for Ente. Once the Undead player has those tools, he's going to definitely put up a lot of pressure here, and it's going to make those water elementals in particular a lot less effective once the spell is available. That Potion of Greater Mana adds insult to injury at this point in time, because let's face it, that's gonna be rough. If you have the extra coils available, you can just completely take an army apart here, and that Death Knight is now level 3. This is fantastic for him. Level 3 Death Knight, Black Citadel tech is still going to be a bit of off. But yeah, with everything that he has right now, Ente has so many tools. Already the first coil hitting one of the Footman, Nova coming in after. And here's another coil available that he can easily use to either take a Footman down or maybe even go for the Water Elemental here. If he wants to play like this, he can. Should stay away from that Arcane Tower though. That's draining the mana of the Death Knight pretty quickly. And yep, there's the Nova. Coil could definitely get the Archmage right now. And yep, that's a dead Archmage. Potion of Greater Mana being used. The AM is down on level 3. That's 160 experience for him right there. And that's fantastic, of course. Now, level 2 Lich, 2.5 for him. Down goes the next Forest Troll Ice Trapper, and things are really not looking good for Thorzain at all. GG called, and that is game, as Ente takes game number 1 against his human opponent. Alright guys, going straight into game number 2. Now, it has been a little bit of a delay here in the previous game, or at least it looked a little bit like that. All these games are being played on Europe at this point, and that seems to affect performance a little bit, so my apologies for that. It's actually really interesting, because when I casted the Chinese games on NetEase, that ping accelerator was apparently really effective. I had a better ping to that than I have to Europe right now. Kind of weird, but apparently that's a thing. So in this series, Thorzain down 0-1 against his opponent. Up to the top left of Terranas stand, we now have the human player from Sweden. And down to the bottom right, we're currently seeing Ente again, who pretty successfully took down Thorzain with a lot of pressure in the last game. Lich before tech into Black Citadel, got the potion of Greater Mana too. So the item is really playing into the cards of what the Undead was trying to do in the first place and helping out here. A bit of scouting going on with that 6th Acolyte, just double checking in case there are very quick expansion attempt on the side of Thorzain. What's happening here? We're seeing at the same time now also Death Knight again as the first hero, Crypt being built. Gonna watch out for that graveyard if we're gonna see early Fiends again. Archmage on the other hand for Thorzain, so no big surprise there. It's actually quite interesting. We had a couple, especially Todd for example, being a bit frustrated with Archmage as a first hero choice and being forced into it. Experimented a lot with other heroes and had a bit of a phase, I would say, like a week or two, where he played Alchemist first mostly against Undead. It was actually really surprising of how well that worked out for him. Now he went back to Archmage for most of it, but still pretty impressive to see that that can at times be a bit of an alternative. Okay, so already a bit of a scout happening here. Like I said, you want to see, okay, what does my opponent do? Is he going to go for the camp? Is it going to be a super fast expansion? We're seeing for now with the militia support just approach to go for the Renegade Wizard. Already we have Ente moving in here right away. Slippers of agility, gets a bit of scouting in. It's going to try and see if he can maybe even land a last hit with the Acolyte. Crazier things have happened, as silly as it sounds. In this case, it doesn't pan out. Level 2 Archmage, therefore, right away. And a Potion of Greater Healing. Fantastic item for him to start things off with. And even trying to go straight for a bit of solo creeping with the Death Knight as well. Problem is that the Archmage could actually spot that any second now, and that's exactly what happens here. So that's really unfortunate for Ente. He gets the item though, has the Claws of Attack +6, so just gets it done in time and doesn't get surrounded here. So from a creep patterns perspective here, good job by Ente denying the item, and a lot of the experience to the human player. Was a bit closer than he probably expected though. In the main base now, the tech straight into tier 2. We have again the graveyard, so we can expect those fiends to be produced any second. That's the first one. In the main base of his opponent. Here in Terranar stand. Let's see what Thorzain is going to do. I want to remind everyone again, this is a best of 2. It's a little bit unintuitive, especially since most people still expect best of 3s here to be played. But for the format that we're having, it's all about a best of 2 now. Thorzain again with a Forest Troll Shadow Priest now as well, and has the militia going all the way up to the top here, outside the vision of the Undead player. But Ente still gets the scout through and is going to try and get a few death coils in. He has currently 2 available, might get a 3rd even during all of this to try and get something. Water Elemental already taken down, but so far he hasn't really gotten a lot of experience, actually very little. He needs to make sure that he gets something here. Forest Troll Berserker falls, that's good XP for him, but Thorzain is doing a great job to put pressure on the Death Knight and make sure that he cannot easily get the XP here. Thorzain himself actually closing on level 3 right now. Level 2 Water Elementals would be fantastic for him, but he can see these hits coming against the Death Knight, and that's absolutely fantastic for him right now. So, good job. Expansion on the way, and let's double check how exactly he's gonna play it. So once the tech into the Hall of the Dead is done, it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of timing we're gonna see for the Black Citadel tech, because I assume that at this point it's gonna be a little bit more likely that he's gonna get that in before he goes straight for the Lich. We have also Ring of Protection now for Thorzain. The creep spot gave him level 3, and that gives us now Water Elementals +2. So from the perspective of the human player, things are actually going pretty well. Hasn't really lost too much against the Undead Harass here at all, actually. Good items for him too, got the expansion through, so Thorzain is probably going to be very happy with how things are going thus far. At the same time, we have Ente with a bit of an approach trying to be aggressive here. The problem is really the pressure against the Death Knight. The continuous damage against the DK forces him to be extremely careful with him, and the level 2 Water Elementals and the Archmage on level 3 are not going to make things any easier for him. Now in the main base, we have the Lich again being built before the tech into the Black Citadel. As we said before, you can do it the exact other way around, where you go into a super fast tech, try to get the Orb of Corruption a lot earlier, add the Lich after you tech, and then you try and hit a bit of a timing shortly after tier 3 and try to use that superior attack path to take your opponent down. Thorzain now also pretty much protected against any kind of harass with skeletons once that scout tower is upgraded into an arcane tower. And we have more and more creeping going on for Thorzain. I think there was also a Tomb of Experience, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that Archmage, Parry of the Vitality as well, is looking fantastic right now. Main base tech to tier 2 to keep, just started. And well, Ente hasn't reached level 2 yet, so finally he has the aura. But yeah, things are not really looking too pretty for him. He needs to get his experience up pretty quickly, and it's difficult for him to shut anything down, and Thorzain is just using the time that he has and the freedom on the map to creep whatever he can. Gets a Sobi mask as well, it's going to be great for his second hero. Tomb of Strength here, level 4 for the Archmage. And also a few more mercenaries in the mix. Yeah, so from Thorzain's perspective, this is actually going fantastic. Black Citadel tech has started, and we're seeing the first slaughterhouse for Ente. 33 supply for him, whereas we're having Thorzain on 44 now. Blacksmith and Lumber Miller being built. Keep tech halfway done, Scout Tower in the main base. Gets a bit of scouting going also now with the Archmage, just double checking, is there an expansion for the Undead? Did he try and expand here? But so far that's not the case. Can now at the shop even get himself another item. And yep, actually teleportation staff. So we're going to see some harass in the main base too. And buys also the Dust of Appearance for the Borrowed Fiends. So yep, there's the pressure on the Acolytes. And that's going to keep Ente busy for the time being. Tries to force the cancel easily on the Ziggurat. That's not even going to be contested. Yep, cancelled right away. And can now simply staff out. And I mean, again, yes, Coil Nova hits, and that relieves the Archmage of quite a bit of his HP. But then again, he has 2 Forest Troll Shadow Priests, and he's just buying himself some time here. That Death Knight is on 2.5. The Lich finally hitting level 2. Has the claws, but 36 supply against 47, and the extra gold to spare paints a pretty picture here for Thorzain. Getting now also his first upgrades in with the range increase. And continues creeping. A second hero for him is granted a little bit later, of course, so he can't really get any experience for that. Archmage therefore heading slower and slower to level 5. Gets the diminished results from the creep camps. After level 5 you don't get any experience anymore creeping neutral camps, but even before that, with your continuous levels on a hero, you get less experience percentage wise from creep camps. So he's still trying to make sure that with the Archmage he at least gets something here. Second hero is now also in play, and that's the Alchemist, and immediately the split. We are having the where did that Archmage go? Ah, there we have it. Goblin Zeppelin. Okay, so we're going to see a little bit of drop action for him. Gets even another Forest Troll Berserker. And just creeps with the Alchemist solo. Gets another Flute. Sweden today, really. First little DC, and now we're having Thorzain as he goes into rifles with the Flute of Accuracy. Alchemist on level 2 now as well. And he gets us around on a Ghoul and takes that one down too. Tier 3 tech completed with the Black Citadel, but now the Acolytes are actually under pressure. Expansion by Ente, but things for Thorzain are looking really well. Web isn't done yet, so you can't web the Zeppelin either. That's a bit of an issue, but he has the Orb of Corruption right now, has another Claw. Brutal Lich already. 17. Really well done here. 17. And let's see, we're having Thorzain now with level 2, nearly 3 Alchemists. I mean, his levels are absolutely fantastic. This is really looking great for him. You have the level 3 Alchemist, you have the Flute of, oh my god, Health Stone as well, Potion of Greater Healing. So he has so many survivability items at this point. This is just great. He was also able to get another Tomb of Experience, and now we're having the Alchemist on 3.5. Things are fantastic for Thorzain. Lumber upgrades here, and yeah, Arcane Sanctum gets Rifle Caster into play. I mean, all of this is just simply designed to harass Ente. Make sure that Ente can't really go out too much, that he's a little bit in trouble. I'm going to lose a few of the mercenaries here, though. That's a bit of a downside, but outside of that, he's now getting his army together, and we're having 59 supply for Thorzain already, as Ente is trying to force a bit of a battle there. 42 supply for him. Another Coil Nova here against the Alchemist. Doesn't use the Health Stone just yet. Healing Spray, and there's the use. Gets the item, drops immediately. So at least that's something that Ente got out of this. Nukes the Alchemist heavily. Gets a Priest now too. And one item gone. Doesn't really hand the supply in. And we're having the third hero now coming in too. We're going straight for the Dark Ranger to have a bit of silence available for himself. Looking towards the expansion, by the way. Double checking that. Main base. Tech into Castle now started too. The double Arcane Sanctum. And we're seeing the aggression towards the expansion. Talking about that. Main base. Not really too much action out of the Slaughterhouse yet. He has the 2 statues, but that's it. And so far, Ente now with 47 supply is really looking too bad. Thorzain is starting to struggle a bit on wood. He's on 25 at this point in time and is trying to get some damage in here now. But outside of getting an Acolyte, he's not going to get too much here and has to TP out too, losing the Zeppelin in the process as well. At least saving the Forest Troll Berserker. But still, Thorzain with a 67 supply is starting to struggle a little bit. Struggle in the sense that he was actually far ahead, especially if you consider his experience lead on the heroes. Having 4.5 on the Archmage, 3.5 on the Alchemist, so way better hero levels than the Undead player. Griffin Averys are now being produced too, but Thorzain is at 70 supply, and he has lost his economy advantage a little bit. I mean, at this point, low upkeep for Ente as well as he heads in above 50 supply, but he's getting a bit more creeping done now too. Now those hero levels are still a bit of a concern. You have at least level 2 Coil and level 2 Nova with a Lich on 3, but outside of that, yes, he's struggling slightly when it comes to hero levels. Level 3 Water Elementals are going to be pretty beastly. The Alchemist, when he hits level 4, is going to be tough to deal with as well. Aura items, of course, are going to be great too. Parry up to Vitality now passed over. But generally speaking, Ente is starting to do a bit better here. So he doesn't really have any upgrades yet, so that's definitely a bit of a concern if you consider the +1 Rifleman attack upgrade that we already have. Priest's currently on Adept, but here comes again the approach of Ente, scouted by Thorzain as he has a sentry ward here. Not sure if he's really willing to take that fight here just yet. 57 supply against 70. Here comes again the nukes on the Alchemist, and the Alchemist has to be careful. There's going to be another potion of greater healing being used. Yep, both of the items already gone, and Ente just keeps nuking. And that Alchemist is gonna fall soon if he isn't careful here. Gets a potion of invulnerability and gets the item as well, Wand of Mana Stealing, but the Alchemist falls, and that's level 2 for the Dark Ranger. So the nuking process is doing really well here for Ente. There's no sorcerers, no invisibility that can be used from Thorzain in those fights, and he just keeps the Abom alive at the front and is trying to deal with the rest of the human army, but it's pretty difficult for him to make that happen. That Alchemist, on the other hand, at the front line, always a welcome target. Abomination again, the coil hits home. Abom saved for now, but Thorzain is still pressing forward. 73 supply for him, another water elemental in play, and just pushing those abominations back, putting the pressure onto the Death Knight once more. Potion of greater mana and greater healing both being used here as Ente is getting those coils in. Loses one Abom though as he uses the Dark Ritual again. Death Knight on level 4, and the hero power on the side of the Undead is just absolutely wrecking that army right now. Getting more and more hits in, using those Rods of Necromancy as well. Another Abom about to fall, this time eliminated by Thorzain. Level 5 on the Archmage is definitely helping out, but it's not going to be enough here. Unit after unit falls as we're seeing the Dark Ranger also providing additional skeletons. Another coil being used. One priest down, a second to follow, and Thorzain drops to 58 supply with Ente just absolutely ravaging through that human army and destroying that rifle caster combination with the spells on his side. Main base by now on the tier 3 tech. Haven't really seen too much out of the Griffin Avery just yet. Second one has been produced too, but those Griffins have played no role in this game thus far. Losing that Alchemist early on in the fight, even with the potions that he used, huge problem for him. It just shows once again how powerful those Undead nuking spells can be. Level 4 for the Lich now, and he's at plus 17 attack. Level 3 for the Dark Ranger. Silence is going to be difficult to deal with for the human player from here on out. And in the main base, no upgrades either. Adds the second Slaughterhouse now with the economy that he has, sitting on 2 bases. And 62 supply for Ente is again giving him a very, very good position in the game here. Early on, Thorzain not having too much trouble, but right now things definitely have changed. The Griffin Riders are going to have a tough time against Lich and Dark Ranger alone, not even talking about the Fiends with the already researched web. Another base about to be put into place by Ente as he's starting to TP in, forces the TP out of Thorzain, doesn't get a unit here. One Acolyte goes down, attempt to go for one of the priests, but that didn't quite work out. Alchemist at level 4 still. Now he needs a couple of potions of lesser invulnerability or anything to keep those heroes alive. The big problem with the Alchemist is also, once he falls, you're losing out on Hilarious Flute of Accuracy. To be honest, I personally would really have expected him to pass it over to the Archmage anyways, since you don't need it on the Alchemist, and the Archmage is going to be closer to the ranged units one way or another. And also, if your frontliner is taken out, then at least you have the Flute advantage still. And I mean, that's 10% damage. So, on the Archmage, that would actually be great. Oh! Coil Nova, have fun going in with a heal spray. So that's taken down right away. And that's exactly the MO that we're going to see for the rest of the game. We're going to see just like massive amounts of nuking, hit and run the entire time by Ente, trying to turn around maybe, turn those. But for the time being, things are looking pretty good for Ente. Thorzain, though, he hasn't really given up yet. He's getting another expansion into play. We talked about that necropolis down here already a bit earlier, but the gold mine's still not haunted, so the expansion here is going to be in play much sooner. But Thorzain is already down in supply, and now again he's being attacked here. Immediately the web coming through, and the Griffin Riders are focused one after another. Keep that silence in mind, though, that we could see from the Dark Ranger any seconds if the fight turns onto the Alchemist once again. But the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability in the inventory this time is going to help him a lot more to keep that bad boy alive. Archmage on 5, still getting the spells through. He has the power against the Alchemist. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability already being used. No sources, no invisibility. Healing Spray has to be used to keep him on a higher HP. Then Nova into the backline again. The skeletons here, the Dark Minions from the Dark Ranger coming in. Not enough dispel, not enough mana on the side of the human player. Where are those priests taken down one after another, and the water elementals being dispelled by the destroyers too. The Archmage about to fall. Town Portal being used. Thorzain down to 50 supply against the 56 that we are seeing for Ente. That coil is hitting, and it's hitting hard, going straight for the Alchemist once again. Mana potion being used, tries to heal himself up, but that is it. Second hero gone, level 5 Death Knight, and that Archmage is looking pretty tasty as well. There is a potion of mana in the inventory for the Death Knight. The Lich nearly on level 5 as well, and another Death Coil could definitely rack through that first hero too. Staff of Preservation being used here by Thorzain to keep a couple of units alive, but that's not going to be enough in the long run. 60 supply for Ente, 42 for Thorzain. The Dark Ranger on 4, and that Archmage is just dead meat. Oh, saved barely by the potion that Thorzain gets, and he gets level 6, he gets the ultimate, but how much does that mobility really pay off for him here, considering that he just doesn't have the units? Having the mass teleport is fantastic if you have a little bit of free reign and time, but that's exactly what he doesn't have. If Thorzain gets a bit more control over the game, that would be fantastic for him to maybe play around his ultimate, but for the time being, there's just no way to use that effectively. Actually has the Brilliance Aura here on 2, so he definitely went into it, but at the same time now, though, to the top right, you're seeing that entire worker line absolutely destroyed. Lich on 5, and that is nuke heaven right now for Ente. 1,400 gold for him, a little bit low on the wood here. But he took down the entire worker line, is focusing onto the town hall now, and at least for now we're seeing Thorzain starting to put some pressure onto the bottom left, where we see the additional base being built for Ente. Now again, he has the mobility now through the level 6 Archmage, and his Alchemist is on 4.5. Half level away from next. Okay, there we have immediately the ult being used, so he moves away. And this is really the big play right now. Trying to play around that, trying to really use that mobility. If he can run circles around Ente, that could potentially help him. But things are definitely looking dire for Thorzain. Looking at his upgrades, he's sitting on 2 attack upgrades for his Rifleman. We don't have any upgrades for Undead. Oftentimes something that you see actually, that Undead players are relying heavily on additional unit power over upgrades or items. Shredder now being bought. Mentioned a bit earlier that Ente is kind of low when it comes to wood. Shop being attacked, and this is really the big problem. Thorzain is trying to run out circles now around his opponent, and you can already tell that, especially without town portals, it's kind of tough for Ente to keep up with this. He has more supply, he's sitting at 75, but if he can't fight, and if he's just forced into these weird battles, then he can't do anything. Avalon being traded for a Rifleman, not even! The Rifleman survives, and immediately Thorzain, again, just buzzes out of the base. So good job, gets the shop. takes down an Abomination, gets a bit of experience, buys himself more freedom on the map, can mine again at the top right, and now just has to try and play around his opponent. Sentry Ward is in place, so he has vision. Actually a little bit surprised that he still goes to the right, considering that originally Ente was actually moving into that direction, but already moving units into position again to use mass teleport here. Divide and conquer, that's all that he's trying to do here. Attack at one spot, force a reaction, and then immediately move into position again. And already getting ready here for that move. But needs to be very, very cautious. Ente is in the perfect spot. Doesn't even know about it. But as you can see here, it's all about that particular sentry ward. So there's the mass teleport down to the bottom left. So he can start trying to go in for a bit more aggression against especially that Goblin Shredder. Town Portal forced again. And that's another 350 down the drain. Immediately the mass teleportation used, and Thorzain is trying to cancel Ente at this point. It's literally just what he's trying to do. It's 69 supply for Thorzain again, and eventually Ente is going to be forced to just simply go for it and say, okay, let's YOLO and go for an attack. Because things are really starting to get annoying. Thorzain is just running around the entire time, using the mass teleport, trying to put units into position, and it is working out for him. Town Portal even being used here. More Griffins are being added as well. Gets a few more items. Potionless and Vulnerability should be one of the items that he's going to get now too. At least for that Alchemist. Alchemist had huge problems the entire time, but here comes the attack. The second you let go from the pressure, the second that Thorzain just sits at the shop for a little bit, Ente crosses the map and says, I have to attack right now. This is starting to get ridiculous. I can't just sit here and take this the entire time and see him just teleport around me. I need to get some damage going. Acolyte pressure into the worker line. But now we're having a fair amount of units for Thorzain. Thorzain is back to business. A back and forth game here from the get-go. So right now we're having, that Nova again. The pressure on the air bomb, and down goes the magic damage from the Griffin Riders, thus wrecking the heavy armor here. Silence is in from the Dark Ranger, and now once more those healing sprays coming from the Alchemist, who has nearly hit level 5, and that extra level would do such a huge difference here for him. Nearly gets the Fiend here. That would have been great for him here, but here's the level 5. Finally getting those hits, and another Fiend is falling, and all of a sudden Ente might be in trouble. In a lot more trouble than he expected. Has sent a couple of ghouls to the top, but the Water Elemental has fallen. The Lich goes down! What a kill here! Thorzain with a kill against the level 5 Lich. The Archmage nearly level 7. The Silence on the Alchemist has the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability in the inventory. We still have Destroyers there, and another upgrade. Level 7 is in, and Thorzain, like a god, is micring the shit out of his units, is able to force Ente back after the Undead player already had a level 3 Coil Nova combo and survives through all of it. Brilliance Aura on level 7. On level 3. Whoever said that that additional buff in the last patch would never see you play, huh? Whoever said that? And he didn't have to use the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability either. Ooh, the rebuy on the Dark Ranger, as she has fallen in the earlier fight too. But damn, that was a close call there. That could have been the end of her. 60 supply for Ente, and you look over to Thorzain, he's sitting at 65. The Lich, did he rebuy him too? Yeah, rebought the Lich as well. Level 5.5 Lich. That Dark Ranger nearly on 5, and yep, mass teleportation, baby! Goes in again. Those Ziggurats not upgraded yet. One Acolyte down, going for the second. And guys, this is actually huge, because this is one of the main sources of income right now for Ente. Because the gold base over there has another 4,000 gold, and that is it. So right now, the Acolyte's already gone. Needs to be really careful now with the interrupt on the Silence. That's going to be a huge problem. Coil Nova on the Archmage. She still has a Town Portal. That's big. The Coil actually hitting the Dark Ranger, saving her ass for now. But once more, the focus with the magic damage of the Griffin straight onto the heavy armored Abominations. Nearly eliminating one of them. And here comes again the mass teleport. Bam! Up to the top where the Destroyers are. And taking one down? Not quite. Doesn't get the Destroyers, but is able to defend his own base. And again, Alchemist is nearly level 6, and once you have Transmute, you can just rip those Destroyers apart. Sell them piece by piece. Another rifleman heading into position for another mass teleport, and there it is. Teleports in. Thorzain is absolutely annoying. Like, he's wrecking right now. Thorzain is just putting all that macro from StarCraft 2 to good use at this point, and is doing work. Moving in again, but here comes the attack, and that could be the final fight here. Coil Nova, level 5 for the Dark Ranger, level 6 for the Alchemist. Transmute can now finally be used, but there's the silence on the Alchemist, and the immediate town portal this time on the side of Thorzain, but still another abomination. Thorzain trades well. He really trades well. Every single time he makes one of these moves, he trades still quite nicely. Double Rifleman right now against the Ghoul, but Ghoul already taking down 2 of the peasants. And the game isn't over yet. Never underestimate the power of high-level undead heroes. But then again, level 6 Alchemist, level 7 Archmage. I mean, what more do you want? Having the Staff of a Sanctuary here is going to be absolutely huge in the later fights as well. I mean, that being said, Fiends are added more and more, and Ente is down to 54 supply. Thorzain is at 76. I mean, normally I really would say you can't never underestimate the undead heroes, and I feel that's still true. But at the same time, you look over to what the human player has, and the level 6 Alchemist is nothing to sneeze at. Still has the potion of lesser invulnerability, the mana through the Sobi mask, and the level 3 Brilliance aura, and this is just devastating for Ente. I mean, he took the early lead in the series on the previous map, but right now he's just absolutely falling apart. He had such a great mid-game where he dominated his opponent, but then the level 6 Archmage changed everything. Mass teleportation was absolutely huge. Silence is going to be absolute key here. The focus, again, on the Alchemist. Again, level 6 is just such a game changer for him. Already moving in again here once more, and bam. Tries to get also the acid spray back into play here. One after another, those towers are gonna fall, and here comes Ente. 80 supply for Thorzain, 54 for Ente. They're trying to get that battle. Oh, those, they are way out of position. Bit of a micro mistake here on the side of Thorzain. Loses quite a fair amount of his casters. At the same time, the Griffin and Rifle combo is still doing a lot of damage here, especially through the focus fire that he's bringing to the plate. The damage, on the other hand, against the Echo line is just too much. The double water elemental here on level 3 is doing so much work here. Taking most of them down already, and that is shutting down the income from Ente. He needs to fight through this. He just can't dance around with it. Another Ziggurat about to fall. Rifles down. Here comes the web, and he's trying to dance. The problem is he's forced into the fight. The Dark Ranger with a level 3 now also on the minions. Again, Griffin Rider about to fall. Level 6 for the Death Knight, and that's the level 3 Unholy Aura right there. That's huge, but he's also about to lose his gold mine. He needs to fight, and he needs to fight now. He's starting to run out of income with this. Another Nova, another Coil. He's trying to apply the pressure. Archmage with a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability in the inventory. Here comes the Coil attempt, but the potion being used. The Death Knight low, but he has the Health Stone and uses it. Archmage still a bit of trouble. Both of the heroes are low. That could be the kill, but no, he gets it. And here comes again the pressure on the first hero. And Archmage goes down just because the portal comes through. Death Knight dead as well. The Nova on the Alchemist. It's a double kill. A 2-for-1 trade in heroes. Level 7 Archmage, level 7 Alchemist. Both fall. The level 6 Death Knight bites the dust too. No more coils for him. Ente down to 33 supply. 800 gold for him. But the human army is still on the field, moving straight to the tavern, rebuying the DK, and they're going for it. 6 on the Lich, Dark Ranger on level 5, nearly 6 as well. What an insane game. This is nuts. This is absolutely crazy. Never in my life would I have expected this much of a late game, considering how the mid game went here. And once more the pressure into the eco lines the entire time. This time it's the human player who's bleeding, losing every single peasant. These heroes are currently shitting on him. But then at the same time, here comes the army, and we're seeing 64 supply for Thorzain against the Low supply numbers for Ente. It's really the heroes that have to make it right now. There comes the Alchemist. Level 6 Lich. An absolute monster. And there's the surround attempt on the Lich. The mana on the Death Knight. Is it going to be enough for a coil? He has one. One is all he has at this point. The Nova comes through. Where's the coil? There we have it. Finally. Level 7 on the Alchemist. Acid Spray coming through. Dark Ranger with the pressure. The surround with the Peasants. And down goes the Lich. What a game! What an absolutely bananas game. 700 gold left in the gold mine. And Ente is starting to struggle. Level 8 Alchemist. And that bad boy has 1,400 hit points by now. Here it comes. Possession. Takes a Griffin Rider. Tries to save it. Level 6 Dark Ranger. The fuck is this game? Seriously. Transmute being used again by the Alchemist and gets another one. And Thorzain is also asking, what the hell is going on here? And that's a really good question. Believe me, dude, you're not the only one asking this right now. Level 6 Death Knight, level 6 Dark Ranger. What is this, Dota 2? Like, seriously, what the fuck's going on in this game? This is nuts. Sloppy by me. I mean, he isn't wrong. That mid-game could have been absolute game-breaking. He basically had Thorzain on the ropes. He had him. And then it's really the Archmage and his ult that changes everything and carries the entire game way into late game. And right now, Archmage is, I mean, I want to say nearly back, but it's not really true. And also look at the income. It's not only Ente who doesn't have a lot of income left. The same is true for his opponent. It's all about the expansion up here at the top, and it's again getting harassed by skeletons. He already depleted the gold mine in his main base. He depleted the gold mine at his natural. This is all about the top right. And the possession, the Griffin Rider goes in. 2 peasants down. There are none left. Wait. Okay, he has a little bit of gold to buy peasants anymore. But there's absolutely nothing anymore left for him outside of that. He can use Transmute, but that's about it. So the income is really non-existent. And at this point in time, it's just a question of whether or not Ente can capitalize on that by using those heroes to slowly and steadily snipe the army of his opponent. That's the only question here. Again, skeletons at the top against the peasant line. Over and over and over again. Thorzain is really just like scouting the entire map, trying to find out if he has a couple of peasants left anywhere on the map to make sure that he can use them here, but his income is slowly coming back, but there's little that he can actually buy. Ente could even move over with an Acolyte, for example, unsummon the Necropolis here. That would really work for him too. Full mana on the Death Knight, nearly full mana on the Lich. Dark Ranger too, ult should be ready as well. Items, that's the question. Do you get anything here? At this point, the unsummoning already starts. He knows this is down to a last fight. This is an insane game. This is crazy. 43 supply against 57. And this is a gone. I mean, this is gone. Forget about it. The Archmage is back too. But keep in mind, there are no potions of lesser invulnerability this time. He doesn't have a single one. He had 2 earlier. That's what saved the Archmage. That's what saved the Alchemist in the first place. Now you are going up against not only the Silence, you're going up against level 3 Coil Nova that can be used again to absolutely wreck you. Especially on the low HP heroes. Transmute attempt here on the side of Thorzain. He's trying to use it as much as he can. Here comes the Silence, the Coil, the Nova. He's hitting all of it, and that Alchemist needs to get the hell out of there. Staff of Sanctuary can be used, and that's exactly what he does. And that, of course, gives him a little bit more time, because now he has to wait until that bad boy is in full health again. And keep in mind, that's 1,400 that we're talking about. That gives you a small window where you can attack, and that's immediately what we're seeing from Ente. He's starting to move in. He needs to wreck the peasant line again, but Thorzain already pulled everything away. He already pulled it off. He already realized, okay, I can't do this. I can't sustain this. Does he have any? Did he actually pull it away, or did he get taken out again? I think I missed it again. I think, yep, we had that already completely destroyed. Peasant line is gone. There's no gold left, basically. And he's going to lose this. This is going to come down to the units at this point. Water Elemental on the way down to the bottom left. But again, there's nothing in terms of mining. That's the only thing that he's trying to find out right now. This entire segment already completely unsummoned to get the extra gold. 50 supply for Ente against the 57 supply on the side of Thorzain. Undead versus Human. Another transmute against the Destroyer. And he gets huge money out of this. Does he have potions? No, not. He has one. He has one. One potion of lesser invulnerability. And there's already, again, possession being used by the Dark Ranger. Ranger. Gets at least this one. Where's the coil? Where's the coil? Barely saving the Dark Ranger. Dark Ranger still being focused. And Ente screwing up, actually losing the Dark Ranger here. Can he save it with the Lich and the Death Knight? 6 Lich, 6 Death Knight. Alchemist nearly on level 9. Archmage nearly on 8. Here comes the pressure on the Lich. The coil saves him for the time being. Ente on 44 supply. 44 supply against 45. And the entire time the healing spray is coming through, trying to save the spellcasters. In the back, the Griffin Rider that was possessed a bit earlier is doing work here. But at the same time, the Death Knight is starting to get low. Coil Nova. Alchemist again. The Staff of Sanctuary is being used here. But Ente is about to lose his heroes. The Death Knight down, and that has to be it. That has to be game. Is it? Archmage low. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability being used. The Lich! The Lich trying to get away here. But the Archmage gets another shot in, and the Lich survives barely. The fight is not over yet. Thorzain on 35 supply. Ente on 30. Does Ente have any gold here to bring one of his heroes back? He unsummoned the altar. The only thing he has is the tavern, but he doesn't have the money either. Invisibility on the Archmage. If he finds it, then this is gonna be it. Units at the top. What else does he have? Alchemist is back, and that has to be game. Thorzain has to win this. 29 supply for him, 30 for Ente. Ente losing the Death Knight and the Dark Ranger this early in the fight was definitely the straw that broke the camel's back. Absolute insane late game here. At this point, what can you do? Try and sell the items? Try and get something back in here? It's not enough. With the Alchemist surviving and hitting level 9 at this point, there's just nothing you can do anymore. Losing the Death Knight was the absolute crucial last blow that we saw, and now we're having the Alchemist and the Archmage both trying to come in and finish that game. This has to be it. This has to be over. Unsummoning of the Necropolis. He's trying to get enough gold to get something done here, but here come the heroes. The only thing they have to do is take out the Lich. Both of them invisible. There is absolutely no freaking way. This is gonna be it. This is gonna be game. The Lich goes down. Staff of Sanctuary being used, and this has to be GG. Thorzain is going to win this game. He's trying to bring the Alchemist, the Alchemist back, and that has to be it. This is game right there. The rest of the army comes in. He takes down another A-bomb. Alchemist is nearly 10 at this point, 9.5. And what an insane series here between Ente and Thorzain. GG called as one of the craziest games that I've casted in, like, ever. Goes to an end, and a best of 2 ends with a tie between Thorzain and Ente.